Welcome. We're back. All right. Okay, we're back. This is not a stream. You want to just kind of doze off. Like, this is a stream where I want everybody paying attention. I have a lot of things to talk about, a lot of important things to talk about. But yeah, good luck to everybody going into the market this week. Just going to start off with crypto for a little bit. Some interesting volatility over the weekend. Have a lot to talk about in terms of the actual stock market and my thoughts on where the money could be flowing to next. I have some individual stocks that I really want to dive deep into, like Clover and Fisker. Just a lot of information and opinions that I want to share with everyone. So get ready, get some popcorn. Let's have a good night. Let's get prepared for the week, right? The people who win are the people who are prepared. So we're all preparing right now, all of us in here. And yeah, we're going to do ticker requests probably like 30 minutes into the stream. But for now, just going to cover what I want to cover. And then after that, we'll go over whatever you guys want me to go over. But for now, let's just start off with Bitcoin. Had a 20% pullback over the weekend. If you see from like the all-time high down to the low, it's about a 20% pullback, right? That's quite a bit for Bitcoin, but really it's crazy how like little a 20% pullback is now just compared to like where you used to be. Like falling down to 51K is still really, really high in comparison to like where you were just months ago. But honestly, I was not anticipating the fall yesterday. I was pretty surprised. I'm sure a lot of people were when you got that really big move or red candle yesterday. Definitely something I was not. Everything is always a possibility. That's why I always have stop losses. But I just didn't think that would happen in that type of a way and so quickly. You know, there was a trade on Bitcoin. It was up 10% at one point. It came back down to the entry, so that's a break even. But obviously, it happened so quickly that if you didn't have a stop loss in, it was either a good thing or not a good thing, right? If you did have a stop loss in, you might have been stop hunted. If you didn't have a stop loss, it might be way lower than your average cost. But hopefully, that was only for like a trade. But yeah, we're definitely gonna be talking about Clover. You know, in hindsight, we did talk about the potential rising wedge, but it looked like the rising wedge was invalidated once you broke above 60K. But when you broke under 60K, that's really where things change. And I've been saying on stream, all you need to do is hold 60K on Bitcoin. You just did not do that last night, and you sold out pretty violently. You bounced back up like halfway, but really on Bitcoin at this point in time, I have no clue. I mean, you just broke this demand line that you've been holding since the end of February. But you already did have a pretty sizable pullback. Like typically on a lot of falling wedges in uptrends, you don't make more than like a 50% retrace, and you pretty much went right down. Look at this. This is Fibonacci. This is proof of how real Fibonacci is. From your low to your high, you made exactly a 0.618 retrace, so your golden retrace. All right, exactly a 618. This is why we use Fibonacci. That's the most important Fibonacci level, and that's actually where you bounced that on Bitcoin. Not only was that your 618, it was also kind of your support from right over here in the end of March. But at this point in Bitcoin, it's like you're really halfway between 50K and 60K. Of course, you're closer to 60K. It's not really halfway, but there's not too much of an edge on Bitcoin for now. It sucks that it pulled back like that. That's just things that happen randomly. There's a few different news sources that came out about why Bitcoin fell. Honestly, I don't get too caught up in that. The fact of the matter is that it did fall, and at this point in time, I'm just not too sure for the short term. Obviously, you're still in a bull market for the long term, so that doesn't really matter. But yeah, all right. So just taking a look at the chat. How's everybody doing? We got 37 people in here already. Make sure to hit that like button, that subscribe button. I'll talk about other stuff later, but that's just starting off with Bitcoin. Let's talk about the market now. Again, for the people who just joined in, I'm gonna be talking about the market, about some specific stocks, very importantly, Clover. Just get ready, all right? We got a lot to talk about. So let me breathe for a second. Futures are down a little bit, honestly, and this is really what I want people to be understanding of, or just keep this in mind, okay? The S&P and the NASDAQ have been rallying at a very, very unnormal level for the past couple of weeks. Typically, you do not have these many green days in a row without like a decent pullback, which you really have not gotten, okay? We've been talking about this broadening wedge for a long time on the market. I mean, I've been talking about this since probably January, and a lot of people are looking at the same exact broadening wedge that I am. It's pretty easy to spot, and you're in an area where it's hard to tell whether you're going to reject the top or you're breaking to the upside of this pattern. I mean, if we're looking at the S&P futures, I think that you are actually breaking to the upside, but at the same time, just because, and I want everybody to know this, just because you break out of something does not mean it's 100% going to keep going up. All right, a breakout is just simply you're breaking a level of distribution or supply. But what happens if bad news comes out? What happens if bots start selling? You never know. So just looking at the broadening wedge on the futures, you're pretty close to really breaking out, but you could even just do this, right? You could just have a fake out. You could go a little bit higher, then you can come back under. So it's tough, especially when you're showing these types of levels. And if we look at the actual S&P, the way that I personally have it charted, and again, when it comes to supply lines, I like charting it where you're going to have the most touches possible on your supply line or demand line. And for my interpretation, you're literally at the top of the wedge. Not only that, but you're obviously close to the 4,200 psychological resistance on the S&P 500. And if you go from that previous high to low, you're at pretty much at the 2618 Fibonacci extension. So 3 different potential reversal signals on the S&P 500. And then on the 4-hour, you were really close to confirming your classic bearish divergence. But again, the MACD is a lagging indicator. So as the prices on the S&P started or continued to go up, you started invalidating this classic bearish divergence for now, just for now. Of course, it could just do something like this, right? And then go back to red. But what are my thoughts on the market going into this week? I've already been talking for like an hour. I just did a one-on-one call, so give me a second to breathe. But there's a few things here, okay? Crypto was very, very overbought. A lot of altcoins were at insane levels. RSIs were going crazy, super overbought, and you got the pullback already on crypto. All right, if we look at the large cap tech stocks, you've had a very, very nice rally, and the S&P is in a potential reversal area, okay? If we look at the smaller names and the more speculative stocks like pot stocks, EVs, and things like that, you're in areas where even though the market's been going up like crazy, a lot of these smaller names just have not been going up with the market. They haven't even been going sideways. They've just been dumping, right? A lot of EVs and pot stocks, the market's making new all-time highs every day, and these smaller stocks are not even just going sideways. They're literally dumping. And my personal opinion is that this is going to change soon, okay? Honestly, I think large cap and tech stocks are due for a pullback literally this week. And I think a lot of the smaller names are due for a bounce literally this week. All right, this is the opportunity that I'm seeing personally. It might be wrong. I can be completely wrong. I'm not a genius. I'm just doing the best in terms of what I'm currently looking at, right? So if we look at a lot of the big tech stocks, what they're doing is they're making 78.6, 88.6 retraces, right? Those Fibonacci levels that we always talk about. Let's take a look at Apple, okay? We go from this was a premium trade, by the way, but if we go from our previous high down to our low, you're pretty much approaching that 786, 886 common, deep retrace area to the upside where you can get a pullback, right? You've already been going up. And it's not just Apple. This is on most of the big tech names, a lot of industrial, like large cap names. And then just a lot of these bigger names look like this. They've been going up with the market. However, if you look at the smaller names, if you look at something like CCIV, right? The opposite thing, you're approaching 78 to 88% retraces, but to the downside, right? You're already past the 786. So you're getting deep retraces to the upside on tech stocks, and you're getting deep retraces to the downside on smaller stocks. So I think we're at levels where now the ones that are approaching their 100% retraces to the upside are going to pull back, like the tech stocks, the large caps. And I think the smaller stocks that are approaching their 100% retraces to the downside, like EVs and pot stocks and SPACs, I think they're going to bounce soon, okay? You're just getting divergence, right? We always talk about MACD and RSI divergence. You're getting divergence in stocks, right? Certain stocks are going up, certain stocks are going down. It's that simple, but I think based not only on Fibonacci levels, but also on divergence and support, you're in reversal areas. It just reminds me so much about January. If you remember, January was an amazing month for a lot of small caps. January was personally my biggest month ever. I probably made, I don't even remember the exact numbers, but probably like 400, 500% gains in my portfolio. It was all-time highs for my portfolio. I've talked to a lot of people. January was an amazing month for many, many people that trade these SPACs and EVs and pot stocks. But, February and March were not good months for a lot of these smaller stocks. That's just the fact of the matter. And even if we look at like pot stocks, we look at ACB, not only are you making deep retraces to the downside, but you're also showing bullish variables on a lot of different stocks. Like if we look at ACB, you're in a falling wedge, you're turning your previous resistances into a support, or your previous supports. Like if you see over here, you're at ice lines, right? Historical pivot areas on these smaller stocks. You have a triple classic bullish divergence. And so many of these smaller names look just like this. This is just an example. ACB looks great for a bounce. Falling wedge, divergence, support. Those are what you look for reversals, right? And these are what a lot of the smaller names are showing, okay? Now, I'm sure you follow other people on YouTube and Twitter that do the same thing as me, that have their opinions on the market. And if you remember, most of those people, because I also follow a lot of them, if you remember back over here, in the beginning of March when the S&P was dumping and everybody was freaking out, so many people were panic selling and telling their followers, this is not a time to be trading, I'm exiting the market for a couple months. And for the smaller names, that probably was true, but for the bigger names, this was a huge opportunity. If you've been following me, if you remember, on this exact date, March 5th, we talk about it almost every single night on stream. It was when you were testing that demand line on the S&P 500. On this day, I alerted the Discord. I put out a tweet saying I thought that the short-term bear market was over, right? If you remember back in like the middle of February, not even just small stocks, but even the large cap stocks were dumping. The S&P was really getting crushed. And on that day, I thought that the bear market was over. I alerted everybody. Since that day, you've gone up, I think, like 10% or more. You've gone up 12% since that exact low that I alerted, right? This is the opposite of that. This is the exact opposite. You're not at the bottom of the structure now. You're at the top of the structure, okay? The exact opposite. But here's the difference. While you were going up like crazy on the S&P and NASDAQ, the smaller names like CCIV, ACB, Fisker, they were not going straight up. They were going straight down. And this is where I think, even if the S&P and the NASDAQ do pull back, which I think they will soon, I think these smaller names are actually going to bounce while the S&P and NASDAQ pull back. I can be completely wrong. Maybe the S&P and NASDAQ pull back and these stocks go even lower, which would just be crazy to imagine. ACB was $19 in February. It's $8. It's under $8 now. CCIV was $60 in February. It's under $20 now. Fisker was $32 like a month ago. It's $13 now. I mean, these are not justified drops in my opinion. It's just there's no speculation money, or there hasn't been speculation money. People have just been going to safer stocks like the Apples, the Microsofts, the Amazons. But now that you're getting overbought in those tech stocks, I think it's time for the bounces, all right? That is my thought on the market. Those are my thoughts on the market. We'll see if I'm right. We'll see if I'm wrong, okay? I just take it day by day, but that's my bias going into the week. My bias can be invalidated. And that's why I'm going to be streaming tomorrow night, right? And I'm not saying that this is all going to happen tomorrow. I'm just saying I think really by the end of the month is when we're going to start seeing that rotation again, okay? And what I do compared to a lot of people that I see on Twitter and YouTube are like continuation traders. They just follow the money. They see something that's up 5% and they trade it until it's up 10%, right? I'm not going to say they FOMO, but they're just continuation traders. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't judge anybody based on how they trade, but I'm more personally of a reversal trader. I look for where the money could be going to next. I don't just look at where the money currently is, which is what most other people do. I actually look for where the money can be going to next. And I did that same exact thing. I was thinking, where could the money be going to next when we were down here? And I was saying, I thought those big tech names were going to actually bounce. And people did not think that could happen when they were, just selling off for a whole entire month of February. That happened, okay? So let me try and breathe again, but hopefully that just gave you my personal opinions going into the week. We'll see what happens. Let's talk about some individual stocks now. Before I do, keep hitting that like button. Let's get to 30 likes. We're going to have a very nice talk about Clover. Very, very nice talk about Clover. Hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. Let's just get to the Clover chart right now. And then one final thing before I really go over Clover and Fisker. I need water. I can't even breathe right now. I've just been talking so much. All right. So for the premium alerts, this week is going to be starting the second month of premium alerts. So I figured what is this song? I figured that for the people who were not in the first month of premium alerts and are, been debating on joining premium alerts, I just figured I'd do like a 24-hour sale, I guess. So really the price point for the premium alerts has been $30 for the first month and then $25 every month after. But for the next 24 hours, pretty much from now until 10:30 p.m. EST tomorrow night, like after the stream tomorrow night, it's going to be 25, not 30. So basically, instead of paying 30 for your first month, you're paying 25. And then obviously every month after your first month is $25 regardless. So if anybody's been considering it, just want to bring it up. I really don't talk about premium alerts too much on the stream anymore. I was like the first week, but I haven't talked about them in a few weeks. So yeah, if you've been considering premium alerts, the first month was pretty good in my opinion. Obviously, it was a little bit tougher with the small names pulling back, but I did put out a lot of tech names for the premium alerts. It's the pinned chat and the first link in the description if you want to join. 24 hours, all right? The sale's on for 24 hours, pinned chat, first link in the description if you want to join me on my quest to revive these small cap names and get some nice swing trades out in the next few weeks, all right? Let's talk about Clover now that I've kind of covered all of that. I don't want to bore you. I mean, unless you were interested in that. Clover, pretty ironic, but this was also a premium alert on Friday. On Friday morning, I woke up, and actually late Thursday night, I was looking on my phone late Thursday night, and I saw that Benzinga put out an article for Clover saying that there was like 147% short interest according to S3, which I was like, wait, what? 147%? That's like the same level or around the level that GameStop was at when it went crazy or before it went crazy. It's like, what? Let me just throw Clover on my watch list for tomorrow morning. I woke up in the morning on Friday. I sat down at my desk, looked at the Clover chart. It was kind of like right over here. And I noticed that it was very quietly breaking out of this little supply line it had, and the volume, that was the reason I really put out the trade for the premium members. The volume was really, look at this volume level. This volume bar right here was way higher than all these volume bars before it. And that was my signal for Clover, okay? I saw the short interest reports. I saw it was breaking out of this downtrend, and on increased volume, it was about $7.50. I pinged all the premium members. And it was a very nice morning for the premium trade on Clover. Basically, $7.50 was the entry. The target was like $8.80 or something, but I did say in the Discord that in case this does go crazy, here are the next resistances: $9.90, $11.80, and then like $13.24. I also gave that to the premium members just in case it does go crazy. And obviously, it hit $8.80, which was the target of the trade, but also went up to $9.90. Before kind of putting in like a tweezer top on the 1 hour and pulling back. Then I even tried to catch this dip. It didn't work out too well, but going into tomorrow on Clover, now that that trade already played out, what are my thoughts? All right, if you look at Reddit, if you look at Twitter, Clover is going insane. I've never seen these many people talking about Clover, even back when it was IPOC, and a lot of the FinTwit folks were really talking about it over here. I've never seen these many people talking about Clover. I've traded Clover a bunch of times. I actually did like a little analysis, and I put out like 5 or 6 trades on Clover at this point, and like the winning trades that I put out on Clover are a higher percent than the losing trades I put out. I put out like 2 or 3 losing trades on Clover, but I put out like a 20% trade from right over here. This was a trade that I alerted from like 13.20 up to like 17. It was like the exact top. This exact top was actually the target of this trade. For those who were back around here, for those who were here in like January, you might remember this. I put out a buy call for Clover at 13.20, which was the exact swing low. And then my target, my second target, was the exact swing high. That was like an insanely good trade. And then it dumped. I didn't touch Clover anywhere here. And then right over here, I put out like 2 or 3 failed trades on Clover that were like 5-6% losses. And then if you remember, I'm just doing some like history. This is like history class right now, but if you remember, there was the bullish crab, right? Like this. And then like literally in March, I put out another buy call, or not buy call, but alert for Clover, where the first entry was 705 and the second entry was 630, the 1618. And that was alerted to everybody. So many of you probably do remember this one, where we traded Clover from about like $7 up to $9. And then it pulled back and I canceled out the trade. It was like a 15-20% profit. It came all the way back down to 7. Okay, and then look at this again for the premium members. We even traded this one. So the last 2 huge pumps on Clover, both of them were alerted to the premium members. This big 20% day was a premium trade. If you remember, like literally a week and a half ago, right? because I saw that after it hit the PCZ of this bullish crab, Clover double bottomed at the PCZ. Not one bottom, but two bottoms. That means 2 times the buyers confirmed that they feel that the value of Clover is over $7. And once I saw this was another premium trade. I said there's a double bottom at the PCZ of this bullish crab. I pinged all the premium members, and this was like literally a week and a half ago. We made like a 20% profit on Clover, and then literally on Friday we made another 20% profit on Clover for the premium members. And then also if you went for the 990, much higher than that. So that's the history of me and Clover. Let's talk about the future. Okay, like I said, Wall Street Bets, it was like the second most talked about stock over the weekend. Clover was like number 2 after GameStop. So Wall Street Bets is really talking about Clover. Twitter is going wild talking about Clover. But here comes the question, right? There's a lot of different sources in terms of the short interest on Clover, okay? S3 came out and said there was like 147% short interest. Hindenburg came back and said that's completely wrong. Then they were arguing about including some of the shares of one of the founders. And then a few other sources were saying different numbers. Finviz is saying something. S3 is saying something. Hindenburg is saying something. You're getting a bunch of, Bloomberg is also saying a different amount. You're seeing a bunch of different reports on the short interest of Clover. That just makes it a little bit hard to know what's correct. I mean, everybody has their opinions, and of course there is a fact of the matter, but that's obviously changing, day by day. But I do think short interests only get reported like once or twice a month, like officially, at least on like Finviz. I only see them change like once or twice a month, or like every 2 weeks, I think. But I might be wrong there. Regardless, this is the point I'm trying to get across. Regardless of whether there's a 147% short interest, a 30% short interest, really anything over like a 25% short interest is a squeezable stock. If over a quarter of the shares in the float are being shorted, that means that a quarter of the people who are shorting it might have to buy higher to cover their positions if the price is really going up. So I don't know what the exact short interest number is. I'm not a news reporter. But regardless, if people are this bullish on Clover going into this week, and there is, whatever the number might be, there is a high short interest in comparison to most other stocks, it's squeezable. Whether it's 30% squeezable or 147% squeezable, it's squeezable. And a lot of people are looking at it. And not only that, on Friday, you had your highest volume ever. I can't even believe it. You had 250 million shares traded on Clover. That is insane. That is wild. Okay, the highest day before that was 76 million from this day, which was also another premium trade, but yeesh. And not only that, but if you look at this candle from Friday on Clover, you technically engulfed like 1, 2, 3, 4. You engulfed like 5 red candles in one candle. So that's technically a bullish engulfing candle. Kind of looks like a rising 5 methods or whatever, where you have like one big green candle, a bunch of candles in between, and then another big green candle. I don't know if that's the rising 3 methods or the falling 3 methods. It's one of them. It's like a candle pattern, but it's like a little bit more complex on huge volume. From a technical standpoint, going into tomorrow on Clover, you did close, I think after hours you closed like 897. You're still under the chop zone. Okay, this is the chop zone on Clover. All right, this is what needs to happen for like a crazy move on Clover to occur. You see over here, resistance, very, very hard resistance in this area. Came back down to the bottom. 7 was your support a bunch of different days. Came back up on this pump. That was your resistance again. On Friday, you broke over the chop zone, but you closed under it. Okay. Clover is in a very, very important range between $7 and $9. Pretty much all of the daily candles since March. Yeah, every single daily candle since March, or since March, since March 3rd, every single daily candle on Clover has closed in between $7 and $9, okay? What you're looking for tomorrow or sometime this week for a continuation to the upside is a close above. To be safe, you want to close above like 920, just because that was like your candle high over here. So what you're looking for to break out of this range is a close above 920 on the day. So you want the day, you want at 4 p.m. EST, you want it to be above 920, okay? If you can do that, there's a lot of room to the upside, okay? You sold off from $16.80 down to $7 pretty quickly. What tends to happen when you either sell off pretty quickly or rise up in price pretty quickly is you don't create strong supports and resistances, because you need to be going sideways to create a strong support and resistance. So just as easy as this went down, it can go back up that easy. But the question is there going to be enough interest? Over the weekend, Reddit's talking about it, Twitter's talking about it, there's a lot of interest. But if you have 1 or 2 days that are really good for Clover, will that be enough? That's the real question. I can't give you the answer to that. So what are my thoughts? Depending on how much people truly believe in this squeeze, tomorrow it might be a very good open. Maybe not. It also depends on what the market looks like. If you can really get a daily candle close above 920, or you just shoot right through it, I think 1180 could be next. I mean, there's really no major resistance, because obviously you already tested 990. You're going to have to test that again. That was obviously the support back here when it was at SPAC, was the redemption shares. I don't think $10 is going to be too hard to get past if it's a true squeeze. So I'm looking for 1180 next after that 1324. Those are the levels. I feel like I've been talking about this for like 20 minutes, so we're going to move on. But I'm not in Clover right now. I got in options on Clover again. When I put out the premium trade on Friday, I got in options on Clover at like 750 was the price when I entered my calls. And then I took profits on my options when it was like right here. So I felt decent about taking profits on Friday afternoon because it sold all the way back down here. But looking at social media and at Reddit, I don't know, maybe I might regret taking profits on those options. It was like a 300-400% profit that I got in like 3 or 4 hours. I don't know, maybe I'm gonna regret taking profits, but I could always just trade it again, so we'll see. But yeah, that's Clover. Let me take a look at my phone real quick. Okay. So hopefully that gave you some insight. We're going to talk about Fisker next. I'll put out a new alert for Fisker on Friday. The recent alert I put out for Fisker, it was like a 10-11% loss. I thought I could hold this major support at 1455, but again, there's just no interest in EVs and SPACs and small cap stocks right now. And Fisker was a SPAC, it is an EV, and it's a smaller cap than a lot of stocks. It's like, I forget the exact valuation currently, but I believe it's under 10 billion, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, I mean, at this price, let's see, but Fisker was trading at $32 about a month and a half ago, and now it's trading at 13. All right. Did any super bad catalyst come out? No. Did the market crash? No, it didn't. The S&P just went up. It went to all-time highs. Okay. So what happened? Why did Fisker go from 32 to 13? Beats me. I don't know. I mean, a lot of EVs sold off. A lot of small caps sold off. Do I personally think that Fisker is worth $13 a share? No, I don't for the short term. I mean, for the long term. But in the short term, the fact of the matter is Fisker came down to $13. Regardless of why it did, it did. Personally, for the long term, I think that this is a pretty good price, where I think in 5 to 10 years it's going to be multiples above this. But can you go lower in the short term? Yes, you can. It really hasn't started making higher highs and higher lows yet. But if we take a look at that 1 hour, look at the MACD on Fisker, we're showing classic bullish divergence. Okay, pretty close to confirming. If you have a good open tomorrow on Fisker, you're probably going to confirm it. If you look at the RSI, you're oversold. If you look at the 4 hour, you're oversold on the 4 hour for the second time in Fisker's history. The last time you were oversold on the RSI on the 4 hour for Fisker, you went from $9 to 23, which was a trade. I put out that alert at $9 if you remember, the bullish butterfly PCZ, and I targeted like $18. I didn't target 23, but this is the second time in history for Fisker that you've been oversold in the 4 hours. So on Friday, you bounced off 1282, which we really zoom in here. It was kind of your candle body low over here. It was your candle low on this candle, and it was your candle high here, kind of your candle low there and here as well. It wasn't like a super clear support by any means. I only charted that after the fact, after it bounced at 1282, but there were a few candles in that range. So I'm not only playing 1282 as a support, but also 1253. If we take a look, 1253 on Fisker was your candle low right over here and right over here. So, and it was also your candle high over here. So as long as you can hold over 1253 on Fisker, you're oversold on the RSI, you have 1 hour classic bullish divergence, And if your 1 hour classic bullish divergence plays out, there is a 99% chance you're going to get 4 hour classic bullish divergence. So you've already made a lower low on price, and the MACD has barely gone down. Even if the MACD comes all the way down over here, which you'd probably have to go to like $10 for that to happen, in my opinion, it's like a 99% chance you're going to be showing 4 hour classic bullish divergence on Fisker as soon as you start getting some demand, and that can obviously take you to much higher prices. So is it completely bottomed out yet? Maybe not. Okay, but I do think that you're nearing just a stupid price point, in my opinion. I could be wrong. We'll see what happens. But 32 to 13, also, like Chatter Free says, was it the warrants or something? Yeah, warrants expiration or something, I think tomorrow, which also could be included into this reason. But Fisker and Clover, really looking into them going into this week. I also talked about ACB, looks pretty interesting. But if you missed the beginning of the stream, I just think a lot of these stocks are way too oversold for no reason other than people don't want to put money in speculation, or people didn't want to put money in speculation for like a month and a half. But hopefully that changes soon. And yeah, that's, just how I wanted to start off the stream. Just to recap some other ongoing trades going into the week that I'm carrying over into this week because they're swing trades. CLP, it looked great. Double bottom, major support resistance level that it bounced off of at $50. You broke the supply line, and I put out the trade when you were back testing it, right? So you broke out of this green supply line, then you spent 2 candles back testing it, but I think the S&P opened up like red on Monday, and you broke under the supply line again. So you definitely want to get back above this supply line before breaking under $50. As long as COP can hold 50, you're good. ESPR, this is a trade alert that I put out to everybody on Friday. It's an interesting one. I wouldn't say it's like Wyckoff accumulation because of this move up here, but you definitely look like you have a spring, right? Where you've used it as support, you faked out under it, then you reclaimed it. Not only once, but twice you had to fake out to the downside. And you also have 4 hour classic bullish divergence on ESPR. And you have daily classic bullish divergence on ESPR. You put in like a bullish pin bar. It's not really like a real pin bar because the body was kind of weird, but pretty close to a bullish pin bar candle on Friday. And here's the other thing about ESPR. You know that report that Benzinga put out with like S3 on their short interest, like Clover, right? That report that came on like Thursday night saying Clover had like a 147% short interest. ESPR was on that list of having a really high short interest. So on that same exact report that came out, I'm pretty sure ESPR was on it. So let me just confirm that. Let's go to news. Yeah, so ESPR, like it's been reported for a while to have a very big short interest. And as long as you can hold 26 on this, looks pretty strong with divergence and support, okay? Next one, VIR. I put this trade out like last Tuesday or something. It's in profit. It's up, trades up 6%. I put it out like last Tuesday. You have a, say, bullish Gartley pattern. You bounce off the 200-day moving average. As long as you're above the 200-day moving average, it looks good. ATRA, this was technically like a failed trade. It did close above the stop loss, but this is not bullish unless you're over 1433, and I've been talking about it every night on stream. It needs to reclaim 1433. Zoom has been a trade like forever at this point. It's just doing nothing. I don't even know. I'm not going to talk about it until we see what it does tomorrow. And then the final one that I just wanted to go over before we do the ticker requests, PGRE. I've been talking about PGRE like every single night on stream for weeks, okay? The trade is up 8% in 2 or 3 weeks after I alerted it. The cup and handle, but here's the big thing. You broke out, okay? You broke over 1053 on PGRE. Candle closed above it for the first time in this whole entire range. And look, you confirmed your hidden bullish divergence, triple hidden bullish divergence, by the way. And there's no resistance until the targets. The first target is this gap fill. The second target is this previous support. Now that you've broken over 1053, if you can hold above it, there's no resistance until the targets. So trade's already in profit. You can just sit back comfortably and hope it hits the targets, all right? But that recaps everything I wanted to talk about going into the week. Hopefully that gave you some insight. But yeah, we're going to be doing ticker requests very, very shortly. If you want to start dropping some tickers in the chat, go for it. Let me relax for a minute. All right. But yeah, feel free to drop some tickers in the chat. I'll take a look in a couple seconds here, or like a minute or two. Really excited for this week in the market. Futures are still down, but like I said, I'm not too bullish on the S&P and NASDAQ either way. I'm just more bullish on the smaller names. And also the IWM, I didn't even mention it. The small cap index, the IWM, the Russell, is showing daily hidden bullish divergence. We'll see how that plays out. And yeah, just for the people who just joined into the stream, just a reminder, the premium alerts are on sale for only 24 hours since this week is going to be the second month, or this week is going to be marking the second month of premium alerts. So I'm doing a 24-hour sale. It's like more than 10% off for your first month of premium alerts. Both of these big days on Clover were premium alerts. On Friday, I alerted Clover at 750. Back over here, this was an alert on Clover. They both hit their targets. But if you want stuff like that, it's the pin chat and the first link in the description. After tomorrow's stream, you're not going to be able to get this sale for the premium alerts, all right? Just letting you know. But yeah, let's do these ticket requests in the chat. I even did, for everybody in the Discord today, I did a Q&A call. There are only like a few people joined, like 7 or 8, but every single weekend I'm going to be doing Q&As for everybody who's in the Discord. If you ever have any questions about trading, if you want me to look at something like directly, feel free to join the Discord. The link's in the description. Been doing these group calls for 2 weeks now. Going to keep doing them every single weekend. Hopefully more people start showing up because there's like 1,800 people in the Discord. But just trying to help out however I can. I'm just dropping these tickers into my watch list so we can go over them. Did I add that? Yeah. All right, let's get started with Carnival Cruises. All right. I mean, there was definitely better entry areas. If you've been following my stream since January, back in January, I was super bullish on travel stocks. I put out a full video on travel stocks, and all the stocks I mentioned in that video are up like very nicely. I pretty much put them out when it was like around like over here. Like this is really where I was talking about the travel stocks. Remember when they were showing the hidden bullish divergence and the bull flags? Like all of them look the exact same, and then this is what happens. So at this point in time, looks like you ran up, you went to fill this gap, no divergence on the daily or the 4-hour. You're still way below you were before the COVID crash. I would say your support is like 25 bucks. It was your high from last summer. So, I mean, your resistance is just like your rally high. So you're just kind of like in between the support and resistance, not too much of an edge. I can see going either way. All right, let's keep going. Palantir. You're just range bound for now. As long as you can hold over 21.15, you're technically fine. That was your low from right over here and kind of like your little double bottom over there. You also have like a mini support at 22.48, which is where you closed that on Friday, which was your low right over here and your low right over here. You're just in this multi-support range, and you're at the bottom of the range. You just don't really have any divergence right now, which is the thing. So just hope to hold those levels. JNPR looks like it might be breaking out of this little resistance from right over here, right over here, over here. You got your highest daily candle close since February 11th. Well, really since you got your highest daily candle close since January on Friday. So it's breaking out of a range. You do have some hidden bullish divergence on the daily. 4-hour looks nice. As long as you can hold above 25.87, this looks pretty good. I mean, you could see 27.36 eventually. You just got to hold above 25.87. You're trying to break out as we speak. ZOM. Let's see here. It looks like you're breaching under this support, but at any point you can reverse just because you're oversold on the RSI, and eventually you can show classic bullish divergence on the 4-hour. It's not really developing right now. I think you need to get back above 88 cents and you need to start putting in higher lows. But yeah, that's really just how I'm looking at it. ACAD. Oh gosh. I mean, not once, but twice it had a crazy gap down. That's just not good. I mean, let's go on the daily. 2062 is your support. It was your low from right over here and right over here. You kind of did also bounce off of it. You went a little bit under it, but just really no pattern, no divergence. I'm not too sure. Snow. This is technically like a trade that got stop hunted, so I took it off the sheet. As long you're holding above 229, which was your support from right over here, hold above 229, and you could see 269 eventually. I know that Snow is trading way above its like multiples above its like current size, if that makes sense. I don't know the exact word to use, but like it's a higher valuation than it theoretically should be. But a lot of stocks are trading at higher valuations. They have been for multiple years. So you broke out of this supply line, you're kind of going sideways, hold above 229 for long enough, then you're talking about 269 as your next resistance. Bitcoin Cash, obviously very nice run. I put out an alert on Bitcoin Cash down at 440, and obviously like most cryptos, it's gone parabolic. At this point, if you're buying here, you're late to the party, okay? Can the party continue? Sure. But there were much clearer areas to enter, such as when we were showing the hidden bullish divergence and when I put out the trade at like 440. At this point, like, I'm sorry to tell you, but there was much better entry areas. So I have no clue if it's going to keep going up or going down. It obviously depends on Bitcoin, which is also kind of 50-50 for the short term. But, I mean, what are you playing here, right? Even if it goes up, there's going to be other things that look better and that are going to go up more because they're at lower prices. They have more room to the upside. So I have no clue where Bitcoin Cash is going to be in years from now, but in terms of the short term, I just don't really see a probability towards either direction. On the 4 hour, you do have some hidden bullish divergence, but like, how are you going to manage your risk? Because in terms of major supports, like 819 and 747 are your closest major supports, and you're obviously like $200 above that. So I'm not saying it can't go up. All I'm saying is for a true swing trade, for like a 2-3 1 month out swing trade, the real smart money has already got in at much lower levels. That's all I'm saying. Kodak, I don't like how you fell under the 200-day moving average and 785. I'd say your support is 693 from this candle low and from that candle low. So you're just in the middle of a support and a resistance. But you do have some 4 hour classic bullish divergence developing. Neo, I think it looks good. You have a bullish cipher, a double bottom at the PCZ, break of a supply line. If it can get back over 38, which is also another important level, it looks pretty good. You even have classic bullish divergence. Yeah, might need some more work to get back above 38, but if it can do that, it looks pretty good. Just hold above 34. CCIV, failed trade, even though it was in profit for a little bit, but I think for the short term, CCIV is bearish under 21 because that was your support and you broke under it. However, for the first time ever, you were oversold on the RSI ever since like the $10 days. Actually, no, like literally, first time ever you're truly oversold on the RSI on CCIV. So obviously, falling from $60 to $19.54 was extreme. Do I think that Lucid is worth more than $20 a share in a few months? Personally, I do think it is. Is this the exact bottom? I have no clue. But just like many other small cap EV, SPACs, pot stocks, I think it's oversold. It's just going to be a little bit tricky to catch the exact bottom. But if you can reclaim 21, flip it into a support again, then we're talking. Then you can even talk about classic bullish divergence on the daily. But it needs to happen first. Let's look at the chat again. Yeah, keep hitting that like button, hit that subscribe button if you're new to the stream. You want to learn more about technical analysis and trading. XLM, let's see. Again, just like many other cryptos, there were far better entry areas for true swing trades. And with Bitcoin being very 50-50 right now, it's hard to do technicals. It just truly is. But I think you are above 47 cents, which is good. That was kind of your resistance over here, your support over here, and you pretty much tweezer bottomed off of that this morning. So this is pretty much like a textbook tweezer bottom and bullish engulfing candle. Next resistances, you're pretty close to it, 56 cents. So it's your low over here and your low over here. So you are near resistance. If you can break back above it, then you're probably going to retest like 63 cents. But it's like a multi-level process, you know what I mean? XL, you are showing quadruple classic bullish divergence on the 4 hour, but you're not really at a support. You're at all-time lows. So I mean, this is just wild. XL was $35 in like November, I think. In December, pretty much around Christmas, it was $35, and now it's $6.50. Tough. I mean, probably want to get back above 725, which is like your closest support, but can now be a resistance. You're showing very, very immense amounts of classic bullish divergence. I hope it goes up soon. I wish it can start showing a real support. I guess on the 1 hour you could call this like a little bit of a support, but you've only been testing it for like 3 days. So we'll see. Of course, being at 650 right now, it could go crazy. But nobody's been bullish on it for a few days, or for a few months, I guess. Aside from a couple nice runs up, but just in a very ugly downtrend, which I hope reverses soon with the bullish divergence, but there's no guarantee. Lots is in a falling wedge. Let's see here. You are showing triple classic bullish divergence. This was a break-even trade for the premium members. It was in profit for a little bit, but then it rejected the breakout. So I made it a break-even trade pretty much, and now it's back under the entry, so good stuff there. But obviously it's not currently a trade. Again, just like XL, if this 4 hour classic bullish divergence plays out on lots, you're talking about a potential double bottom, first bottom, second bottom. But it's going to take a good amount of money to get the ball rolling on a lot of these small caps and SPACs, because they've just been in such ugly downtrends and they have so many bag holders in the float that you're going to need a few pops to truly start getting out the bag holders from the float that have like $12 cost averages. Because all they're concerned about is minimizing their loss. They're not concerned about making profit. And that's just not good psychologically for the stock. So it's just going to take a little bit of work to get these, you know, into uptrends. But I do think eventually they will enter uptrends. You're showing a falling wedge with divergence. And that's really all you have on the chart. SVRA, nice support. Pretty much in this 157 area, give or take. Which used to kind of be a resistance. So it looks like you're making higher lows as well. Look at this. I like the slightly higher lows. I mean, it's an interesting stock from just looking at the chart. A lot of chop though. I think you're in lower risk areas, and eventually you can get hidden bullish divergence. Let's check out the 4 hour. No, that would not be hidden bullish divergence. I mean, the daily, if this MACD really starts developing on the daily, then we're talking, okay? On SVRA. But yeah, I think we're approaching towards the end of the stream. Keep hitting that like button. Let's get to 40 likes real quick if you enjoyed all the analysis. Hit that subscribe button. Join the Discord. The link's in the description. Just another reminder, if you want to join the premium alerts, that's the pin chat and the first link in the description. They're on sale. Like the memberships are on sale for 24 hours only. So you can lock in your $25 a month price instead of the $30 a month for your first month. In case you were wondering about it, or if you didn't even know about it. Yeah, appreciate all the support. A lot of people came out to the stream tonight. Great way to start the week. Thank you for the 40 likes real quick. That only took 3 seconds. But yeah, let's see what else we got here. Link, been going very, very nicely. I don't even want to say the price that I owned Chainlink at one point. It hurts me. I'm sure there's a lot of people here who owned cryptos at much lower price points. They took like a 20-30% profit, and now it's like 3,000% above where they took profit. Well, let's just say I owned Link like in those areas, okay? Just say I owned it down here, and now it's up here, and I took profits like right over here. Let's just say something like that, okay? It was very hard to predict this, you know, years ahead of time, or a year ahead of time, not even, but crypto is just in another world right now. You know, on the Bitcoin pullback on Chainlink, you actually somehow, what the? You actually showed a bullish pin bar candle, which is weird at this type of a area. And you even showed a 4-hour bullish engulfing candle. You're trying to show some hidden bullish divergence. It feels crazy saying this because I had Link under $5 at one point, and now it's over 40. But you're showing hidden bullish divergence. You had a tweezer bottom. As long as Bitcoin doesn't dump again, it looks good in my opinion. Obviously, in terms of like, you know, a long-term position, you had a much better opportunity to enter at lower prices before, but that's just how most cryptos are now. So we'll see. NVCR, CTRM, RSR, Litecoin. I mean, I'm just going to say the same thing for a lot of cryptos right now. SafeMoon, I can't even find on TradingView. Everybody's been asking about it. This is like wrapped Ether SafeMoon, so I don't even know how that works, but I'm not too sure. RSR, is that the ticker? RSR is not showing up. Let me see if I typed it in correctly. Oh, the crypto. Again, for a lot of cryptos right now, it's just hard to give you analysis when Bitcoin is in such a 50-50 area. You just broke a demand line. Of course, it could rally back up on this dip, especially with all the institutional money, but you're in between supports and resistances, and obviously Bitcoin is the king of crypto, so it's just hard to do analysis on altcoins for the short term, for true technical analysis. But obviously you're still in a bull market, okay? You're still in a bull market for crypto. I personally think crypto is going to be in a bull market as long as Bitcoin's above $30,000. Because if we look back over here, we really zoom out, this was really like your real like previous swing low. Of course you have this low and this one, but if you really just zoom out, like this kind of is all like in the same area. But this was like your true previous like pullback on Bitcoin. So as long as you're above that, I still think crypto's in a bull market. But obviously if you come down over there, like you could have huge retraces on altcoins because they just went up like 10x in like the past month. NVCR crazy gap up, no clue what happened. You even back tested 181, which was your resistance right here as support. Hold 181 and you're fine. No pattern and no divergence. CTRM, you got to get back above 50 cents. That was your support right here. You want to get back above 50 cents. You do have classic bullish divergence on the 4-hour and hidden bullish divergence developing on the daily, which is a pretty good setup for like a 2-3 week outlook. But you got to reclaim 50 cents first for more confirmation. I like that you're still above the 200-day moving average. Pretty nice retrace. I mean, maybe you can look at this like a harmonic. I don't really like when it's at that level. It's not really at a 618 or a 786. I hate when the X to B is at a 0.70 because it's in between the 618 and the 786, which could be a butterfly or a Gartley or a few other things, but definitely like an XABCD structure. Looks interesting. As long as your MACD continues to develop, you could probably see a bounce soon. We'll see. Litecoin, hidden bullish divergence developing, looks very similar to Chainlink in its own manner. No edge on the daily. I mean, it looks like you back tested 240 as support. It was kind of, it wasn't really perfect, but kind of your resistance here and here. I mean, I don't really know what to do with this. I'm gonna be honest with you. Hidden bullish divergence on the 4-hour, kind of, if you ignore like the scam wick, but I'd say your support is 7.4 cents. It was your highs over here, and your support right there. Hold above that and you're fine, but again, there's obviously room to the downside and to the upside. It's just really hard to do short-term analysis or short-term technical analysis after these high volatility movements. Joe said, I had 500 worth of Bitcoin in 2006. Was Bitcoin around in 2006? I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying you didn't. I just thought, I've always thought that Bitcoin was created in like 2009. I might be wrong. This will be the final ticker for the night, AREC. for Sean. You eventually can show classic bullish divergence if your 4-hour MACD goes back to green. On the daily, you can also show classic bullish divergence if your MACD goes back to green. You could even look at like hidden bullish divergence, but it doesn't really matter. But I would like to see it get back above 342, which was your support from right over here. Okay, you can reclaim 342 and confirm your divergence. You get a nice move. All right, but that's gonna kind of close it out. Max said, if I didn't get into Clove trade, what should I be looking for tomorrow if I want to enter? I really have no clue how Clove is going to open tomorrow. It depends on what the market looks like. It depends on how much hype there truly is around it that we've seen on social media over the weekend. I'm just going to take it for what it is. I'm going to try and wake up a little bit early. Probably not going to wake up early though. I'm terrible at doing that. And whatever it opens at, I'll be looking at it. We'll see if it's showing volume and good signs, but anything can happen, right? El Cudlow says Bitcoin was invented or created in 2008. But yeah, I think that'll do it for tonight. I feel like this was a very, very packed stream, so hopefully you enjoyed it. If you have not hit that like button yet and you enjoyed the stream, hit that like button. If you're not subscribed to the stream, I have no clue what you're doing right now. Hit that subscribe button right now, okay? And then final reminder of the night, because it's only a 24-hour thing. I'll remind you again tomorrow night, but of course, if you want to sign up for premium alerts, both of these pops on Clover were alerted for premium members before they occurred. This one and this one, both 20% in like the last 2 weeks, 2 different 20% pops. If you want to sign up for premium alerts, there's a $5 off sale until tomorrow night. So instead of $30 for your first month, it'll only be $25. That's the first link in the description and pin chat. Okay? Don't say I didn't warn you, because after tomorrow night's stream, the price is going back up to $30 for your first month. All right, but thank you for all the support tonight. Appreciate everybody who came out to the stream. Good luck trading this week. I'm rooting for every single one of you. Make some money, and don't FOMO, don't panic sell. Be a good trader. Use what you've learned. Cheddar Freeze. I mean, I could do like a full podcast on that fight last night. I mean, I guess most people are leaving the stream right now. We could just talk about it quickly. That song was annoying. It was a interesting event. If anybody watched the Triller Fight Club event last night, it was interesting. Okay, I mean, I've been watching boxing for a few years now. I kind of box just like a little bit just for fun. I'm not like a great boxer, but I feel like I know my way around a boxing bag and how to throw punches. But I've also watched I've watched a lot of pro fights. I've watched a few of these like social media celebrity boxing events. I've watched like all of Jake Paul's fights. It was a very interesting event. What am I gonna say? Is Jake Paul a pro boxer? He boxes professionally, like he has a pro record, but obviously real pro boxers are on a different level. Do I think that he's good for his level of experience? Yeah. I'm interested to see how he continues. I think he's 3-0 as a pro right now, and he also won an amateur, so he's like 4-0. In terms of Ben Askren, great wrestler. I wrestled for like a month and a half in high school, not for me. Sucks for Ben Askren, but he's pretty much already retired, so I don't know how much that affects him. I mean, I could talk about boxing for a while. I'm really excited for Canelo and Billy Joe Saunders, which I think is like in like 2 or 3 weeks. And apparently Jake Paul's brother, Logan Paul, is fighting Mayweather. I don't even know what's going on anymore. I mean, it's just a crazy... If we thought 2020 was crazy, 2021 is already crazy too. And then in terms of like the actual event, it was just weird. I mean, I've never seen a boxing event like that. I was really excited for it because there was like huge artists. They had Diplo, Justin Bieber, Snoop Dogg, obviously. E40 was really cool to see. Ice Cube. Pete Davidson was there roasting Jake Paul. That was funny. Just a weird event. I mean, the way they shot it was just weird. It felt like, I tweeted it out, it felt like a reality TV show. Which typically a boxing event should not feel like a reality TV show. So I don't know. I'm excited to see where this all goes. I'm going to keep buying the pay-per-views. Apparently they did 1.5 million pay-per-view buys at a $50 buy-in, that is insane. Okay, like literally the top tier boxers are not doing 1.5 million pay-per-view buys at $50. The Zone does $20 a month subscriptions, and they're not selling. I don't know the exact numbers, but 1.5 million is a huge pay-per-view amount at $50 for a celebrity boxing event. I know there was like 1 or 2 pro fights, like real ones. There was like another celebrity fight, but they made money. It was, the boxing part was pretty entertaining. I liked the Justin Bieber part. I liked E40. I didn't like a lot of the performances aside from Justin Bieber and E40. Snoop Dogg was good as well, but if this is how boxing gets hype again, this is how it gets hype again, and I'm all for boxing growing. But that was my TED Talk. Thank you for listening, and maybe one day you'll see me in a ring. Probably not, but you never know. But yeah, great. Good luck to everybody this week. Thank you for coming out to the stream. Oh yeah, Ric Flair, the slap boxing was pretty entertaining as well. I watched that. Ric Flair is the GOAT. Have a great night, everybody. Thank you for coming out. Hit that like button. If you want to join Premium Alerts, it's the first link in the description. Peace out.